Okay, so how can I help you?
I'm stuck in Gulu making millions and I need to urgently send money to my sick mother. But I can't find any mobile money agent near me. I've sent the money to your phone, as you can see the message. It might take a few minutes to come through, but I urgently need you to send the money to my mother. Let me send you her number and you send it to her chap.
My friend, I'm afraid your mom is going to die.
What?
Because I don't know you, I never went to campus, and I'm also in Gulu. So can we meet at CPS, we talk about it?
Stay tuned for what Kasozi does next.
Don't fiddle. Refrain from unnecessary engagements with strangers over the phone. This message is powered by the Uganda Communications Commission.
Welcome to English in a Minute. The beginning of spring means sunshine, flowers, and sneezing. Are Jonathan and Anna going to discuss how they don't have allergies? Not cool, guys.
Hey Anna, tell me how the bread baking contest went.
Jonathan, I didn't win. I should have, but I didn't.
Well, what's that trophy for?
Oh, this? I came in second.
Oh, stop. Second place is nothing to sneeze at.
It is when there are only 2 people in the contest.
The phrase nothing to sneeze at means that something is not small or unimportant. It should be taken seriously. Sneezing. And that's English in a Minute.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
And thank you for keeping it with us here on Uganda Broadcasting Corporation UBC TV. We're really honored and humbled knowing that every morning you're with us from the hour of 6:30 till the hour of 9, and of course not forgetting an extension of the same program, which is Good Morning Uganda Extra. And because you've just joined, I'm Robert Chirabo Nyonyitono, and welcome to Good Morning Uganda Agenda. Now in this segment, we usually have a guest in our studios with whom we discuss issues of national importance. Now if you move around, a number of Ugandans have come up with the term economy. When you tell someone how are things, well, economy. Literally meaning that things are not as easy as they expected. And we've seen His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda in about 2 of his addresses telling Ugandans, be frugal. This is a time when you must have your priorities right, when you must ensure that you don't just spend on anything, but spend on what you need because times are hard. He's given a number of reasons as to why, including the Ukrainian war, then the issue of COVID-19, where factories, where the war had gone to a standstill and opened up at the same time with so much demand, therefore making supply less. And it is very clear, factors of demand and supply, economics will tell you that, well, where there is little in circulation and the demand is high, definitely prices will go up. But this morning I'm joined by an economist, and he works with, that is a civil society budget advocacy group, CSBAG, that is Mugobera Ronald. You're most welcome.
Thank you, Robert. Good morning, our viewers. As Robert has said, introduced me, I'm Ronald Mugobera. I'm working with the Civil Society Budget Advocacy Group, CSBAG. We are a policy think tank, and yeah, as you said it, the economy is not doing as well, and the livelihoods of people is on the edge. People are not doing as they should, and the Civil Society Budget Advocacy Group then thinks about what can be done to make sure that the livelihoods of the citizens, of the people, are safeguarded, so that we continue having people in a way that is dignified, livelihoods that can put food on table, and also at the same time try to advise government on what we think can be done to make sure that the economy runs well, and also government is not put under too much fiscal stress. Thank you.
Well, that brings us to our topic this morning, which is the 2022-2023 national budget, addressing economic challenges. Let's begin by understanding this budget. It was an increment from the previous, and now we are looking at about 48.13 trillion. And we are looking at 25 trillion domestically collected. Civil society organization through CSBAG, you have a great hand in the budget. We know government consults civil society organizations. You give in your input to this budget. What didn't we envisage or foresee when we were coming up with this budget, if at all it was there?
This budget was prepared with the shocks in mind. Why do I say it was prepared with shocks in mind? We had already had the COVID-19 shock that had ravaged economies, and Uganda was not spared. The budget was also prepared at a time when prices were rising gradually. So prices didn't just rise suddenly, there was a gradual rise. If you can remember, around between November, December last year, that's when we saw commodity prices, more so fuel, which is a major driver in ensuring that there's mobility of factors of production, go up. They had already, prices of fuel had started going up. So this budget was prepared with those shocks in mind, but I think what wasn't envisaged at that time was the magnitude of the shock. So that's now when we need to come in and find out, okay, fine, we saw this coming, but we didn't know it would come in with this kind of magnitude. That's where things now seem to be getting out of hand. But if the right policy actions are taken to make sure that the people are safeguarded from the biting fangs of the economy, I'm sure things will stabilize. Yes.
Well, government came up with a number of stimulus packages, with a number of offers. We had the 200 billion put aside for medium, small and medium enterprises. We had no new taxes introduced. That is in this budget. Yes. We had a lot of incentives given out there to ensure that much as we've had COVID-19, these act as shock absorbers. Have these failed? Were they not practical? Are people not maybe welcoming them the right way?
Yeah, well, when you talk about the shock absorber that government put, most of these were in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. For instance, moratoriums on loan repayment, restructuring between the private sector and commercial and the respective commercial banks. These were targeting majorly COVID-19. But with the reopening of the economy, we expected that the economy would rebound, production and productivity would increase, the economy would be healthy, and as such, most of these initiatives that had been put in place, their time of elapse is fast approaching. For instance, the moratorium, I think it's September. September was put as a deadline. But now we see that as the economy was trying to recover from the shocks of COVID-19, it is plunged into the global rising prices. And now that we are not shielded from those global prices or price trends, because we are in an economy, we trade globally, we export and import, and we also depend on the external world for most of our needs domestically here. What now has been hard to maintain are the fuel prices. Remember, I told you that they have been rising gradually. since 2021, around December. But of course now, by that time, people do ascribe this to people are going back to the villages, and so demand is high. We didn't know that it would degenerate to this level of affecting the economy this much. The packages that I told you about were majorly in response to COVID-19. Right now, there are targeted measures by government through UDB, the Microfinance Support Center, to reach out to private sector players who are in production, to increase production so that they can boost supplies, because the global prices and COVID-19 have largely disrupted the supply chains. So it is even very hard to move factors of production or move resources from where there are plenty to areas where there is scarcity. Now, the current situation of the rising fuel prices or energy prices, the economy or Uganda may not have a direct solution to it. But domestically, what can we do as a country to make sure that we cushion the people from the devastating effects of the rising prices and also the COVID-19? Now, the question would be, what are we importing? Not so. What are we importing as a country? Are we importing cereals? Are we importing wheat? Are we importing fruits? Not so. Those are things that people consume. Can we boost the capacity for us to have them produced domestically? Remember, our shilling is depreciating.
Very true, and also inflation is increasing.
Yes, as the shilling depreciates, inflation is increasing. The cost of living definitely goes low. Not so. Because now citizens or people, economic agents are going to go for cheaper substitutes. Not so. Or even where there are no substitutes, they may choose to do away with the commodities that they are consuming. So, in that situation,
maybe just to get you, if you talk about doing away with the commodities they are consuming and selecting maybe priorities, does then the word living frugal apply as a solution? Being frugal?
Yeah, definitely. Now, people, I want to say, the consumption patterns of the people will change. Because now you do not have a lot of fiscal space, or you do not your budget is not as leveraged as it used to be. So what happens is now people have to reprioritize their expenditures. Not so? Focus on what really matters. You said it before when you were starting, that the president has come up to say, let us be frugal, let us spend on what matters most. But even when you are spending on what matters most, we must be efficient. Not so. What matters most is one thing, but also being efficient in spending on that what matters is important.
How do you be efficient? Let's elaborate on this for the benefit of our viewers to better understand your economic statements that you're making.
Okay, being efficient is reducing on wastages.
Okay.
Yes.
So if maybe we are saying we are not going to have milk tea, but we shall have dry tea or frequent tea, then that means we make sure the water that is boiling this tea, we don't we boil what we can consume.
You boil what you can consume, because
if it is food, you're saying we are moving away from meat, going into nuts, and maybe from matoke going to cassava, then we don't have food we are going to throw away. We've gone to cassava, but still even with cassava, we are very efficient in terms of how we spend.
Yes, you have prioritized cassava. If you are 3 people, don't cook what? A sack of cassava, because that's what you prioritize. Cook what you can consume. Okay? You know, actually, you bring me to another discussion of...
You know, one time we saw portioning during COVID-19, where people were, you know, if you're these people, number, you need these grams.
Yes. Actually,
and some people didn't understand that.
That was a gesture that you need to be frugal. Yes, we are eating posho, but how are we eating it? Not so. Are we having wastages that I will eat a portion of posho, leave some on the plate and throw away, and then tomorrow I have nothing to eat? But the same also applies to government. Also, that what are those areas that the government can suppress expenditures on right now, so that we now take the resources to those really sensitive and productive sectors of the economy?
Well, now you've triggered my mind to go into that angle.
Yes.
Many Ugandans were saying we want to be frugal, but let's look at state. Let's look at more so cost of administration.
Yes.
We are having a number of by-elections now,
yes,
where we see a lot of money spent in by-elections. If you have His Excellency, you have these other VIPs that are going there. Let's look at cost of administration, cost of politics. We have parliament. I don't remember any meaningful cuts in terms of either allowances or salaries. So what are those areas that you believe we can either eliminate, avoid, to ensure that, because during COVID, we were told, CS Bag actually, you said we had made some savings.
Yes.
Out of, because we were not flying out, we didn't have these conferences, workshops.
Yes.
But now we are talking about taking our priorities right. But it seems maybe in one way or the other, to the ordinary person, government isn't.
Well, you said it right. Government is not as frugal as it preaches. They could have suppressed some expenditures. But much as we know that politics is very important to the running of the economy, because it is not politicians who are policymakers. They are the ones who are the overseers of the budgets, also legislate the laws. But the question is, at what cost are we having these politicians? Like you said it, if you're having the president, okay, if you're having the big shots in government going to participate in by-elections, what's the cost of maintaining them there? Not so. Then this one, when it comes to frugality, we ask ourselves, can we have structures that can enable government, okay, political parties, because now it's very hard to delineate political party and government itself. Not so. Can we have political parties being able to have structures that are functional, even at the grassroots level, that can deliver their political ambitions at the grassroots level without without the intervention of the big shots in government? Are those structures capacitated enough to deliver? Or they are weak to the extent that unless a big shot, unless the national chairman of the party comes, so we can't have results. That comes also now to organization of structures even within the political parties themselves, because it comes at a bigger cost. I will not talk much about that because I'm not so technical in politics. But what I know is that it is a huge budget that goes to facilitate these government officials or big shots when they go to campaign in by-elections. I want to talk to something that really affects the citizens all over. Yeah, we know that everything affects citizens, but you know, we are not equal in societies. And these economic shocks affect us disproportionately. Whereas you, Robert, you may say that the economy is hard. You would be crying of fuel. Not so. That is how you feel the economy hitting you. But there's a person who is in the ghetto somewhere. To him, fuel is a luxury. Not so. They even don't think about it. The only time he thinks of consuming fuel is when he boards a taxi. That's when. But this person has no food. That's all. This person has no medical care. He do not have clean and safe water. Not so. Now that's when we must come up with appropriate measures to address the needs of that person. Yes, as well, much as we understand that, yeah, the global prices will definitely come and affect the domestic consumption patterns, that will affect the domestic prices. And we say, yeah, with time, the economy is going to stabilize, we shall go back to normal. That operates through a lag of time. Not so?
But as an economist, do you believe in that? Do you see that happening? That the economy is going to stabilize very soon, and of course things will go back to normal. When, how are you going to bring down inflation? How are you going to bring down these prices? Are people going to have more money in circulation? What, are we going to have more commodities so that the price automatically reduces? When we keep on telling people that, no, this is going to take a shorter period, the economy is going to stabilize. When you have global factors, talk about Uganda's case, that we even confess our hands are tied to addressing them.
Definitely, I'm optimistic that the economy is going to stabilize.
Now let's use science. You are an economist.
Yes.
Now when you look at factors and all that.
The economy is going to stabilize.
Okay.
Yes, it will stabilize. Yes, because there are ups and downs. Yeah, we are now down. We are going to rebound. The question that we should discuss is when. Not so? And that when is right now undefined. But in the medium to long term, the economy will stabilize. I want to give you an example. I was watching international news and I saw that Ukraine had dispatched some ships carrying weight. Not so?
Yes.
You must be knowing that. It had dispatched. That's part of the easing. Not so? It's part of the easing. Soon it will come to energy. Not so? And when energy, in which fuel is a component, begins going down, definitely all these other factors, all these other commodities around are going to go down. Right now, we are having our economy. We should not run away from the fact that it is too much based on nature also. Not so? When the harvests begin coming in, not so? People will not be crying of food. People will be having food to eat. And the food inflation will go down. I was telling you about the social protection for the most vulnerable people. Not so? Yes. As we wait for the economy to stabilize through a lag of time, what are those social safety nets that government has in place to target the most vulnerable? Not so. It may not target Robert, because Robert is at least somewhere. But I'm referring to you definitely.
Definitely. But then also recently, I think it was on the 26th of February this very year,
yes,
we saw government launch the parish development model.
Yes.
That was in Kibuku district.
Kibuku district, yes.
Yeah, that's Eastern region, part
Yes.
of it. Up to date, there is so much that either it is work in progress. So that is one of the areas where you're looking at the 39% who are in extreme poverty or who are not in the money economy, bring them into the money economy, improving household levels. Is it one of the areas that you're optimistic is going to cause this transformation because of that vulnerable person you're talking about?
Well, if well handled, I'm putting a qualifier of if well handled. Why am I saying if well handled? When you look at the pillars of the the 7 pillars of the parish development model, the first pillar is production, processing, and storage and marketing. And we have a pillar that talks about financial inclusion.
That is pillar 3?
Pillar 3.
Because second is infrastructure and economic services.
Yes, social services, number 3. Now number 4, there are 7.
Yes.
But I want to talk to the 2 pillars. One is when you look at the enterprises that have been prioritized under the PDM, most of them are agriculture in nature. The agro-based enterprises. But the challenge is they are fed, and if people are going to venture in those enterprises from the financial inclusion pillar, and so is the season waiting?
Definitely not.
That's nature. And so we are not working in tandem with nature. It is leaving us. By the time we stabilize and say we are now on takeoff, not so, the season will have passed. It means that even if you give this person who is in an agricultural enterprise to boost production and productivity, the environment in which they operate will not guarantee a safe landing. Secondly, you talked about 39%. That's a national average. There are sub-regions that are far above the 39%. They are close to 70. People who are out of
the money economy.
Now, those people need, should I say, affirmative action?
Or just like one of the pillars, mindset change?
Yeah, mindset change is important.
Because many believe that these people, all they lack is knowledge, mindset change, financial inclusion, a bit of money there, then it's all done. That's it. They will increase production automatically.
Yeah, production will increase.
The markets, if available, the infrastructure, if worked upon, other social services extended, then they're in the money economy.
What is, now we would ask ourselves, what is the rate of improvement of the environment around which these people are operating? You are talking about, it's good to even say if the market is there, meaning the market is not guaranteed, not so.
If people don't have purchasing power.
Yes. Because at the end of the day, I might have a bumper harvest and it stays with me. What is it going to be? Of what help will it be when it can't meet my immediate needs?
Definitely.
So when I can't use that bumper harvest, say to, I can't exchange it for money, and I take my children to school, I pay for my medical bills, I have access to clean and safe water. What will it be of help? So the question would be, now can we, government, come up with other innovations? We understand the functionality of warehouse receipting systems also, that government can have buffer stores. When the bumper harvest, it goes and purchases or stores. It values, first of all, the production of the farmer individually. It stores it and gives him a receipt or a coupon that shows how much worth you hold with the government. You can begin consuming. It can even act as what? What the citizen has, or what that farmer has as a receipt or coupon, can enable him access even other financial markets.
That would be very interesting.
Yes.
Well, Ronald, looking at time, it's not so much on our side, yes. But let me have your parting shot to Ugandans, and of course to government as well, looking at the economic challenges.
Okay, fine. I will begin with the Ugandans because it also affects me. I'm one of them. As the economy bites hard, let us have a change in our spending patterns. Let us spend on what matters most. But even as we spend on what matters most, let us spend cautiously. Also, and then to government, let us have an enabling environment to support the private sector that boosts or drives production in the economy, so that we address what we call the supply side challenges. We have supply increase domestically, and we see at least a reduction in scarcity. Secondly, government should also be frugal. We appreciate government, the budget cuts, and also reduction in some, it may not be as wasteful, but in less productive sectors and engagements that can wait, that the economy can run even when those activities were put to pause. And finally, government should come up with the targeted interventions. I can call it social protection measures to target those very vulnerable citizens that are being beaten hard by the economic challenges that the country is going through. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mugobera Ronald, who happens to be an economist with the Civil Society Budget Advocacy Group, for your time and, of course, that information. One thing that is clear is prioritize, and when you prioritize, also efficiency is very important. Not just saying, well, now if I look at what to feed my family, I think we better do portion. But at the end of the day, when you cook this, you cook more than what you can consume, and then again wasting the other. So as we wait for a number of government interventions, I'll leave you with Ruben to take you through sports updates. There is so much that's interesting that he has for you. Have a lovely day. Take care of yourself, and remember, COVID is still around. Go get vaccinated in case you've not been vaccinated. If you have one jab, go for the next. If you've spent 6 months from the time you got your last jab, please go for a booster dose. God bless you.
The Tales of Kasozi, brought to you by Uganda Communications Commission.
Hello?
Hello?
This is Kasozi. How can I help you?
Hey, Kaso's my brother. Long time. We last met when we were at campus. It's been a while, but you are the person I'm looking for.
Campus? Really?
Hey, you don't remember me?
Okay, so how can I help you?
I'm stuck in Gulu making millions, and I need to urgently send money to my sick mother. But I can't find any mobile money agent near me. I've sent the money to your phone, as you can see the message. It might take a few minutes to come through, but I urgently need you to send the money to my mother. Let me send you her number, and you send it to her chap.
My friend, I'm afraid your mom is going to die.
What?
Because I don't know you, I never went to campus, and I'm also in Gulu. So can we meet at CPS, we talk about it?
Oli musiru.